Alaikum and
Salam
welcome to
alaikum.
another episode of Diving Deep, our podcast. And this is our second episode where we are discussing some amazing comics. And it's been such an amazing journey. First, we spoke with Muhammad Ali Wakil from India, and now we're joined by Brother Mahdi Yazdi from Mashhad in Iran. Welcome, brothers. Thank you for joining.
Welcome. Thank you.
Salam
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us for this amazing talk, Sohbat. I'm really, really honored by your presence. And as part of our second episode today, the guest of honor is Brother Mahdi. So,
Thank you.
firstly, I would like to thank you, and I would begin our question answer session with firstly asking you to introduce yourself and how did you find your passion in comics and what has been your journey.
Alaikum. Hope you're doing well. I'm so glad to talk with you. To also seeing brother Muhammad Ali here. So I'm when I was a kid, I my interest was to draw, and I really like to become an artist. But when I become older, in our school, everyone wanted to become an engineer or architect. So arts wasn't popular uh, at those times. So that's why I choose to become an architect. But also, I was looking for art. But Alhamdulillah, it really helped me, because in architecture, you also have to be an artist, but at the same time, you should be an engineer. And but I was good at the artistic part and was not good at those engineering parts of architecture. So at the end of my when I got my bachelor degree, I decided to go to work uh, to be an architect. But after 6 months, I came out and I left architecture because I saw that just maybe 5% of architecture is art. You have to be engineer. You have to look at statistics of buildings and also many other parts that you should be expert at those fields. And I wasn't expert for that reason. Then I came out of architecture and I decided to make some mini stories, comic stories, and I shared them on social media and everywhere else. And then that was the first step that I become an illustrator. And one of the first people that I sent message was Muhammad Ali in Sufi comics. I asked him, I can do arts. I love his books and maybe I can help him. And, yes, almost I can say one of the first emails that I sent was to Muhammad Ali, to Sufi comics. And then we worked together, we collaborated. And, after that, at the same time, I was working on some of my own projects. I made some posters, and after a while, those posters become a book. And I made a crowdfunding campaign, and made a book from those posters. And after 2 years, again, I made my second book. My first book was Quranic infographics, and my second book was Hadith infographics. Yes, Alhamdulillah. So yes, and now also I have planned for three books, and it's going to take some 2 or 3 years time. But now I'm trying to make some mini workshops. This is my recent decision, and inshallah, meanwhile, at the same time, I'm going to start my new projects, inshallah.
Amazing. So you basically followed your heart and
Yes.
you left the mundane and you left the engineering and the architecture for
Yes.
the people who could do it better, and you said, let
Yes.
me go where I'm good at, where my heart is. And they say that, the whole universe cannot encompass God, but the
Yes.
heart of a believer does. And following our passion is following the calling from God. So no wonder you have created such amazing books, because when I saw them, I was really excited. I was like, who is doing this amazing work?
Thank you.
Um, I have three children, and I have been a speaker in Islamic, world for children, and these books have been so instrumental, much like Muhammad, brother Ali's work that I use. I've used your books as well, and it's a really really good way to engage children in these beautifully illustrated books. um, and storytelling is such an amazing way to convey a message. So what inspires you to come towards this particular genre of art, which is comic style? Why not realistic art or any other more serious? I mean, usually other kinds of art are serious, and comics are more cartoonic, so we don't take them
Yes.
so seriously. So what made you choose this particular genre of art?
I can't say everything was intentionally because, at the first time that I was trying to, work, first I was collaborating with Sufi comics with brother Muhammad Ali, and at the same time I was working in an office, doing some 3D printing stuff. So at when I was working with Muhammad Ali, although I wasn't doing any large scale project. It was tiny mini projects. But because of the currency in Iran is low, I decided to left the office, the job that I had, and I was thinking that those projects can, make me survive in that first steps. So I thought that if I concentrate on illustrating instead of having a job for living and at the same time working on illustration, that would not benefit me. I should concentrate completely on illustrating. So I left that job, and Alhamdulillah, I worked with Sufi comics. But at the same time, I was trying to make some stories. I made 3 mini stories at my first step, but stories will take time. If you I don't know if you are familiar with comic artists or people who are working as a comic artist. It will take time. You have to be full time on a book, and each page for me would take about 3 or 4 days. And it was really hard to complete, because I need some more projects to make my income. So that was I realized that I don't have enough time to make stories. So then I thought, I was thinking that if I make some one page stories, not stories, just infographics, and give some a title for that page, and start to draw things, and make some relation between different parts of a page, that would it's easier for me. So
Okay.
because it was easier for me, and also I had many ideas for that, I started to make some one page posters. Because
Okay.
for a story you will start and it will take 3 4 months, and meanwhile you are working on a project, you can't see any feedback, you can't see and uh, when you don't receive any feedback, it's probable that you will leave the project. Many artists, have this in their memories, that they are working on a project. It takes a lot of time, and they leave the project.
True.
So for me, those one-page projects gave me the opportunity to see the feedbacks. I put them on social media, and many people encouraged me to go forward with those posters. And it was about 1 or 2 years that I was making those posters. But although I received many encourage and many mashallah from people, at the end I realized that those mashallahs will not make me any income at the end.
Right. So you were
So
working on individual pages, and those
yes,
pages were projects on their own. And I think you were getting that feel like I've completed some things. It was giving you that
yes,
feel good feeling that okay, I can do this, I can complete this. With us is also brother Muhammad Ali. He's been patiently sitting with us, hearing our conversation. Thank you for your patience, brother. I would like to invite you now to share with us your experience working with Salam Comics with Brother Mahdi. How was it? Because what I find remarkable here is that in amongst the girls we say that a true queen is one who fixes other people's crowns. So I feel like that's what you were doing. You were fixing another brother's crown and helping him stand up to, and giving him the right help and support to also start off. So please share this, because I think the world needs this kind of real life experience shared with us.
Yeah, that's a nice metaphor about uh, uh, the giving another brother a crown. So I like that image. It would suit Brother Mahdi well. um, yeah, I think he contacted me quite a few years ago. I think that time he was not married. Now, mashallah, he has a son.
Mashallah.
Um, and those were the early days. There was no one really doing this kind of work in terms of comics and illustration. Children, Muslim illustration for Muslim kids was still fairly new. Um, Now I am seeing much more. So alhamdulillah, it's exciting to see all these projects coming up. But yeah, when my mind goes back to those days, we're still figuring out, is it okay to draw? Is it not okay to draw? What do we draw?
yes,
Are we crossing certain boundaries or not? Um, so yeah, I think Brother Mahdi is very talented. I do get people contacting me, but I think what I saw with Brother Mahdi, he was, like you said earlier, he was really following his heart, and there was a lot of passion. There were a lot of ups and downs because of just general challenges I know he was facing, but he stuck with it. Not many people stick with it. But, with his Kickstarter project, with Quran infographics, he really pushed it through. And then with his other project as well, he really saw it to completion. There are people who are artists, and there are people who are producers. There are people who, fund projects. But there are few people who kind of take the project from inception all the way to the end and make sure that it's out there in the world.
yes.
So Alhamdulillah, Brother Mahdi is one of them who really sees
You
through
know,
his vision.
I really was inspired by you. Because I want to explain how you inspired me. I went to Tehran to attend an art school. So there I saw many talented people that were drawing very. Uh, they were talents. But at the same time, I saw that everything that they are doing is drawing some characters that are really close to Western characters. And when we Google those characters, we can see lots of characters like them. So those artworks didn't make sense for me, and I wasn't satisfied in that art school. At the same time, I was thinking that because I was graduated and I didn't have job, I was thinking how long I have to learn art, and why I don't have any project. You know, many of those people who were in the art school were drawing for about 5 or 6 years and practicing for 5 or 6 years without any project, without any income. You know, because in if you are familiar with Iran culture, if you are in home and in if you are if your father, your parents will support you even if you are 40 years old, you know,
Okay.
if you are not married. So that in that art school there were many people like this, you know. They didn't, they were, maybe some of them were rich, or maybe they didn't have any issue about income. So they were just practicing art and every day practicing art, year for years practicing art. And even I had a teacher there that he told me that you should work for 5 or 6 years, then start doing projects, you know. So that was making me sick because I wanted to see a result, and but everyone is saying you have to practice, you have to learn anatomy in this way, in that way, and but when I was one day I was googling comics, Islamic comics, something like this, and I come to Sufi comics website. Then I saw your book and I was thinking, look at these, sorry, simple illustrations and how simple you illustrated it. And I was saying to myself, I am, I know more, I can draw better than this. But look, but look, Muhammad Ali brother, Bakil brothers, they made their own book by the simple way of illustrating. And why not me? Well, I can also draw and make my own book. And also, I can't deny that we need to practice and we need to learn art. But you know, the outcome is more important. And I think if we don't have any art talents, but we can make something and create an artwork that is you know, communicating with others, why not we should start and do it.
Amazing. That's such an inspiring story. I actually got inspired to find this quote by Marianne Williamson, which I often read it out. It says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." And the part that I want to share most here is that we are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And I think that with Brother Ali shining his light, it was an inspiration for Brother Mahdi to shine his light too. And I think that something we can all resonate with as artists is that this field is honestly for those who follow their heart. Because like Brother Mehdi was saying, income becomes an issue for an artist, because how many years are you going to practice without yielding anything, you know, something which becomes a source of, you know, in something that gives you back so you can reinvest in your work. And for me also, I'm a self-taught artist. I've just done 1 year diploma in traditional art, but other than that, I'm a self-taught artist. And the work I do is very much the way you both are doing, that you want to bring a message to the world, and you want it to hold some deeper meaning and bring some sort of change in people's lives. So really, really impressive and very, very inspiring. And I was really, really excited to hear that you created a Kickstarter campaign. Please tell us something about that. Very brave of you.
Yes, when I decided to create those posters, I was looking for somewhere to present those posters. That's why I saw on Instagram, I saw an advertisement about convention about startups, and at that time I didn't know what's the meaning of a startup. And then I went to UAE to attend. It was about Islamic startups, and I went there and uh, I saw one of the people were talking there was the founder of one of the co-founders of Launchgood, Chris Bolivar, Chris Abdul Rahman Bolivar. So I saw him, and I was thinking that if I can make a campaign there. So I asked him that if I create a campaign, and because I'm in Iran and I, uh, sign up a bank account from outside Iran, is it okay? And he told me yes, it is okay. And then I decided to yes, create those the campaign, and Alhamdulillah, it was a good campaign. And the campaign was about when I reached the goal of the campaign, I was promised to give back I guess about 12 posters, uh, the same digital posters. That those 12 posters were my future project. At that moment I didn't decide, I wasn't design them. So I was, by the campaign I promised to give 12 digital posters to people who donated. So, but I didn't made it in my promised time. It took me. It had a lot, some delay, 6 months delay. But I made the project done after that. So it was a good point, and I wish to make more some Kickstarters for my other projects. But still, I have some concerns about maybe in one of your questions, it's how you work in the situation in Iran.
Yes.
So that's it. It's not too smooth to make a campaign like this, because some of the coaches say that no, you're from Iran, you can. Some of the coaches say that yes, you can if you have put another bank account. But at that time, it worked for me. I used another bank account from a company. I borrowed their number and I said they will send you. And alhamdulillah, it was done. And it was a very good Kickstarter for me. But it wasn't, what I reached after the campaign was more important for me, because the decision that I make a book from the posters was a game changer for me, not the Kickstarter. Because Kickstarter, yes, people came and supported me, but still I had some issues about finding audience for those posters.
Okay.
So that's why I came to, I tried to sell those posters digitally, both digitally and physically, but it didn't work. It
Okay.
really didn't work. Uh, and one day I don't know what happened. It was an accident, but what can I call it? So I decided to make a book from them. And that's the game changer. Many people wanted. Okay, so the book was very good. Many people wanted to, but when it was poster, people said, where should I put this poster? And because it has a small law, many people uh, thought that if they buy this poster, maybe they will make it broken, and it's wasting papers, or they had the concerns. But when it became a book, and then I decided to attend Comic Con. Again, I was inspired by Brother Vakil, because I really, when I was reviewing your website, I saw that you attended a Comic Con in Bangalore, and one I was inspired by you to go to Comic Con in UAE. UAE is close to Iran, and it's cheaper for us to go to there to any other part. You went to also San Diego Comic Con. So I came to this Comic Con, but one of the other things that was pushed me to come to Comic Con was that they had a place. They have a place called Artist Alley, and they will rent very cheap desks to present your work. So that's why, because any other book exhibition, if I want to go, I need a lot of money to invest a lot of money. But so when I uh, went to Comic Con, they I almost sold all of my books, all of the books that I brought to Comic Con, and so uh, that was you know the time that I decided to complete the book, because it was just a sample of my book, and I completed my book. And at the same time, one of my friends, called, I should mention his name, Omid Rahmani, he helped me and he invested on printing of my book. So also he helped me to make the Quranic infographics book. And then I was started to promote the book and send the book to all around the world. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So it's been quite a journey for you, and I think
Mm,
that your dedication and your persistence in overcoming the hurdles is so remarkable. Because I can see, I live in Pakistan. There are a lot of issues we also face. We don't have PayPal at all over here, and we have to find other countries to have people helping us do
mm,
these kind of endeavors. And for you to overcome all these hurdles, I think you're a personification of when there's a will, there's a way. And you have just
mm.
gone ahead and said, I'm going to do this no matter what. So they say that dreams don't come true if you don't dream,
Yes.
right? You have to dream first so that they can come true, mashallah. And I feel like I'm sitting with two legends here, because you both have done pioneering work in Islamic comics, and one day your signed books are going to be millions because I have them. So
Inshallah.
mashallah, amazing work. I'm so honored, and I think that it shows in your work and how far you've come, the kind of effort you put in, and the dedication you have. So I, for one, would love to have your posters, because I framed some posters and put in my studio. I actually have posters from Zen pencils. I don't know if you have heard of Zen pencils.
Yes.
So I have those posters, but now I need posters from you guys. So
Yes.
I look forward to them. So my next question is, what inspired you to do your books in English? Because you live in Iran, and over the years, I've collected a lot of books from Iran for children. And I used to
Mm,
struggle finding books in English from Iran, and they were mostly in Persian. Um, so
mm.
I was really excited, and it was almost unbelievable for me to see that this book is coming out of Iran, but it's so well done, very well finished, and it's in English.
English is the international language. If I make a book in Persian, I'm talking to 80 million people. But if I make a book in English, it's like I'm talking to all the world. So that's why I decided to make it in English. And also, but Alhamdulillah, many people helped me to make the English, because if I write my own English, it will be Iranian English. You will, when you read, you will understand that someone in Mashhad. Yes. Uh, that's why many people also sometimes I send the books. I guess my first book I sent it to brother Rakil to edit the introduction and also the notes, I guess. And my new book, an American Lebanese people, some person, I don't remember her name. She helped me to make the text suitable for kids, because if you see on my second book, my first book is a little hard to understand for kids,
Okay.
because I choose the verses exactly from the sources and I put on the book. But on my second book, because I received many feedbacks that it's hard for kids to understand some parts of that. So I decided to, um, give the text to someone to edit and make it suitable for kids. But at the same time, I put the original text at the end of the book because when I send this to some bookstores, they say, "Where is the original text of the hadith?" So
Right.
by putting the original hadith at the end of the book, I answered to those concerns. Uh, Alhamdulillah. But at the same time, I received many positive feedbacks on this hadith book that kids are reading by themselves and they are enjoying it.
Amazing. So, that's also one of the qualities of successful people, that they're always open to receiving feedback and improving on themselves and not getting offended, by the mistakes they make. I think that's what makes a hero. And yeah, you're right about the fact that your first book has difficult English, because when I read the first book, I didn't know who your audience was. I thought it was actually for adults, because I thought it's for people like me who enjoy picture books, but they're big people.
Yes, my first intention for this infographics series was teenagers and adults.
Okay.
But in reality, when you see the audience, when you see the statistic, you see, younger kids will come across the book in reality. But my intention, yes, was adults. But for Hadith book, because I knew that more kids will come through the book, in the Hadith book, I decided to do it something that will benefit both adults and kids. You know. Also, I received many feedbacks that why your books doesn't have any black people, and in the first book they told me you put the black people in, they are poor in your book. So in my new book, you can see many colored people. You can see more women. You know, they told me our girls they can't. They want to see more girls in your book, and so you can see in Hadith book you can see more colored people, more diversity, and I try to apply
On
all those
on this
feedbacks.
topic of diversity, I was also very curious because, um, especially in your hadith book, you've had this diversity of styles as well, art styles. And for me, that's the
Sure.
most interesting, fascinating part about the hadith book is your choice of using different styles and just doing it very elegantly with all the different styles. And I didn't just wanted to know what was the thought behind it, and uh, what was the, even from the art, what was the process and how did it go? What were the challenges in doing that?
Well, the first time I decided to make another style was in the Surah Al-Maryam in the first book, the Quranic infographics. So I had this in my idea, and uh, it was just one moment that I decided to make that. But the feedbacks, because the feedbacks was very amazing, then I decided to, yes, yeah, I can use more artworks. But in the Quranic infographics, if you see the titles, everything is, also the reason why I choose those artists for those topics. There are many reasons behind them. For the Surah Al Maryam, I used the Gothic stained glass style artworks, and because it was something like interface, I wanted to make something interface for both Muslims and Christians, and also it works. I had a client from Canada. He also bought the Mariam poster, and he gave it as a gift to his family, her Christian family. She was converted, and she gave the Mariam poster to her family. So it works and at the same time I used the Aboriginal artist style because I wanted to show nature and There were some reasons behind it, and because
Sister, can you show the if you have the book? Um, it'll be nice to see it.
Okay, so yeah, I actually feel like there were so many styles even in the first book. So, I mean, this was Indian style,
Yeah,
mm,
and then there was Japanese,
yeah,
and yeah, the Bibi Mariam one. I will just open. So this was Aboriginal, I think. Yeah. No, this is still a Chinese one. Just a second, I'll open that. This was Aboriginal,
yeah.
and I was so impressed by the Bibi Mariam one. I get very, very excited by interfaith work. This, oh my God, this was mind blowing. It was so
Yeah,
beautiful.
really.
Really, I mean, honestly, I don't know how you do one poster in 4 days. It would take me much
no,
longer.
no, that page took me about 2 months.
Yeah, it shows. It's so, so beautiful. Um, and in fact, you had couple of different styles even in this page. I do remember. This is the Aboriginal one,
Yes.
and I just felt so excited because it felt like you had taken Islam out of a little box from a Muslim
Mm,
country and you had just let it breathe, just
mm,
expand and touch, different cultures and make it so relevant for, I mean, you even took us to space.
yes.
So it's really, really exciting because I remember when my children were born and I was looking for art to put up in their room, and I wouldn't find any child,
Mm,
oriented. Um, we didn't have any child oriented, artwork for
mm,
children's rooms. And I painted a few, I made four different landscapes like jungle under the sea, the
mm,
Sahara Desert, and the penguins and the polar bears. And I put them with the four different kulls, and they were in primary colors, and I put them in their room. And then I felt like there is a big void. We don't have
mm,
content like that for children. So I actually did an exhibition and sold around 150 paintings for children, with religious content in there. So when I saw your work, I felt like, there was an alignment in the way I was thinking, in the way you were
mm,
thinking. And you were also sensing this void that our children have: good quality, well printed, brightly colored,
mm,
content. So I think that brother Muhammad Ali can also contribute in this question, which is going to be my next question, is why religious content? I mean, as an artist,
mm.
you could have talked about nature, you could have talked about a lot of other things, but what was your desire to bring religious content into a comic form?
Mm. I don't see any division between religion and art. So that's why, I choose to work like this. Because when you see, I had this concern when I was young. I saw many artworks, many art books, comics, everything that I saw, that I was thinking, why all of these, they have all aspects of human life except religion. So that was my concern. And if I had, some, if we had some materials like this before and I would saw them, maybe I would change my way. But because there wasn't any content like this, and they were art everywhere, but it looks like they make art for everything except religion. Mainly, I mean the modern art and also the modern entertainment industry. Yes, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, brother Ali.
Yeah, this medium of comics is really powerful. I mean, I grew up reading it, and I still remember so much of the books and comic books that I've read while growing up. Um, and even though the word comics is it's a modern word, but the medium is uh, quite old. Uh, in terms of even some of the Egyptian uh,
Mhm.
the hieroglyphics, the way they explained or noted their history, it was a combination of visuals and words put together in order to record their history. Um, and for me, comics is just an extension of that. Even in Islamic civilization, if you see a lot of the poetry and stories, they had illustrations next to it. So words and pictures go together. There's a natural sort of partnership between them to tell a story. So for me, it was something that I wished I had while growing up.
Beautiful.
I said, why
Yes.
not?
Yeah, I think they say need is the mother of invention. When you need something, then invent something. There's always a somebody who can initiate this work. So there's this interesting question that just got popped in my mind for both of you. When you guys thought of doing this, which no one else was doing, were there any naysayers or people saying, "Oh, you've gone mad and nobody does this," and why should you do this? There are better things. You can be an engineer, you can be this, that.
Yeah, they were naysayers. Um, I think I kind of started this project knowing that, yeah, they will be naysayers. But that didn't surprise me. I think what surprised me was how many kind of people that I got in touch with after doing this. That really surprised me. Naysayers, I don't mind them. I know they're coming with certain good intentions, because it's not been done before, and you've got you know uh, it can surprise people when they see something sacred put in this medium, because they don't know what it is, and not familiar with it. So there's this thing, oh, is this okay or not? So I get that, but I was really surprised in the kind of positive feedback I got from a lot of different people from a lot of different communities. Um, so I often remember those people who supported the project and were very positive about it.
So I think you're one of those people who writes good things in stone and bad things in sand, and you know, staying focused on the positive. So thank you for inspiring us to stay positive. Yeah, and Brother Mahdi, particularly, living in Iran and doing this work, putting sacred work into an art form. How was your feedback when you initially did this?
Uh, you know, before I complete my books, yes, your first question was that if you've seen any difficulty and if any feedback from people that they say why you did this. Yes, actually, they didn't know what I'm going to do. I didn't say anyone that what I'm going. Maybe some of my close friends, but I didn't say anything to all of the people because I knew if they know that what I'm going to do, they don't understand. So because I needed to show them something, and I couldn't tell them that there is something in my mind. I want to make a book, and without any clues that I'm doing this. So that's why I didn't receive too much negative feedbacks. But Alhamdulillah, also my parents, they were great. They are the kind of parents that they don't say anything to you, and you are free to do anything you like.
Mashallah.
So that's why I grew up. But I, I know some of my friends I see also in the community that their parents say what they have to do. They say you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer, you have to be graduated. So, but Alhamdulillah, my parents gave me freedom. And also, I I can't say that everything that I did was right, because sometimes I wasted my time, you know. And to be honest, yes, I lost 2 or 3 years to find what I should do, because I knew my targets to what I'm going to do, but I didn't know the way I should go to there. And many times I was in home and I was working with my laptop and seeing some tutorials, but actually I didn't do anything. I was wasting my time. I was just thinking and imagining. But Alhamdulillah, this freedom caused to, finding a good way to do it. So that was the cost of, finding a way.
But
Uh,
I think you're being very humble when you're saying you wasted time, because I think for an artist who's going through tutorials, who's giving themselves that freedom to think and let the seed germinate, ideas to come, inspirations to come, I think you're never wasting time. And I think you were carving your own path. So obviously, no, there was no one else who is your role model or someone you could follow. You are the trailblazer,
mm,
I think, especially in your country, doing something like this which nobody's done before. And I think with this freedom to follow your heart, you can create beauty. Beauty comes from the heart. you know like, I can't force you to like the color red or the color blue. You will like what you will like. And if I ask you why you like it, you'll say, oh, my heart is into this. So beauty, it has to come from the heart, and it needs that freedom. It can't be constrained and
yes,
structured. And so yes, conscientious people will say that we wasted our time, but I don't think you were wasting your time.
yes,
And I feel that for you to do this, it takes a brave heart. So I think that, again, this is remarkable. Would you like to add anything else, brother?
uh, the second part of your question was what was the feedback after the book.
Okay.
So the feedback was positive. Many people like, but unfortunately, because the books were English, many people didn't go through it to read the book or thing like that. And also, many people don't understand how they can use this book. But many small group of people, yes, they really love the book and they will contact me. And someone, I guess it was last year, someone called me and he told me his daughter wants the book for his taklif celebration. Her daughter was 9 years old, and he told me that her daughter is crying all the day and he wants your book. So,
Beautiful.
and also I remind that because the book was expensive, I told me I give you as a gift. Uh,
Wow.
yes, and Alhamdulillah. And also, yes, there are some people they will contact me many times, but they are few. Many people don't understand, and uh, it's hard to make it. Firstly, I need to translate it. Yes, I have to, but for some reasons I made some delay in the translation. But inshallah, one day I will translate it. Inshallah.
Great. So one thing I can see with both of you, where I can draw a comparison, is that when I was speaking to Brother Muhammad Ali, he said that it took him a while, and this metamorphosis of understanding the connection of spirituality with art, and then coming to this place of understanding the connection. While with Brother Mahdi, I can see that for him, there was really no moment where he was differentiating between art and spirituality. And do you think that for Brother Mehdi, he grew up seeing Muslim art so well involved, so well infused into religious places of worship? Also, Iran has a lot of emphasis on art, beautification. You know, Shiraz, Isfahan. You know,
mm,
they've been centers of beautiful art. Although even India has its own Mughal art and miniature art, and a lot of the art which comes from the Hindu mythology. So I'm seeing this difference here, where for one it was a journey to find this connection, but for the other, it was very natural. What do you think is contributing to this journey? I let brother Ali speak first.
I, I- I visited Iran a few times, and uh, you just when you enter the country, you're in a different place, and the art is present all over. In the architecture, the mosques, and it's got such a rich uh, culture of art. The carpets. Um, I think that way, Brother Mahdi is very lucky. He had that environment where
thank you.
he was surrounded with it, and it was in a way natural for him. And for me, it was not the case that way. I think I grew up in different countries, and I think art was just seen as a subject in school. Oh, there's art
Okay.
class. You go to art class. You do your project. Make sure you get good marks, and then that's your end of it. Um, and yeah, then there were comics that sort of intrigued me, but I didn't make the connection that okay, one day I'll draw comics. Um, but I always had this feeling that this connection with art, that I want to do something with it. Art class was my favorite class. It didn't feel like work. Um, and I think eventually, just through reading, I just realized that there is so much spirituality in art that I have just not been aware of. And then I thought, okay, when I'm doing this comics work, I want that to be part of the presentation of the books and the comics, to bring that art in this subject, because um, these stories are part of a certain tradition, and to make that tradition effective as part of communication, you weave it in that art, so it gives the reader that space, that it's not just the words, but it's the ambience that the art creates when you're reading the text. um, yeah, that's been my journey with art. And
What would you like to say, brother Mahdi, about this connection between art and spirituality?
So when I was kid, I really liked this mosque architecture and the Persian painting styles, and yes, I guess they have their effect. Also, mainly that you know uh, because as a Muslim or as an Iranian people, we are looking for identity. There is something lost in our lives. So I guess this is the main force inside me to make these artworks. Uh, because you see all of those golden ages and all of those beautiful artworks, and you see in some part of time all the things are cut and there is nothing after that. So that's my main concern. Why there are many wise decisions in architecture, art, and now we only have some. Somebody told me that this is a cartoonish view of the past. We see these new structures; they are built like mosques, but they are not working like the past. Because also the concepts and the contents of sorry, I said the word. The concept is changed. In the past, people wanted to make all those artworks in the mosques to they it was a tool for communication, but today we don't need to do exactly what they did. We have to change it and we have to modernize it. We have to add what we understand from the things, we shouldn't be copycats.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so inspired by what you're saying because there's this fine balance between holding on to the tradition and yet
Mm,
walking with the modern times. And I think both of you have done a remarkable job in creating that beautiful balance. And I think one of the last questions, which I will come to in a bit, is regarding this idea how brother Muhammad Ali has created this in Islamic ambience through his books, using inspiration from miniature art and Persian art, and using the illumination, and creating that Muslim art, sort of bringing it into English language, making it available for the international market, opening a door for people who are not Muslims and letting them enter our world, you know. And what you have done is that you have taken the same Quran and the same Hadith from Persian, from Arabic into English, and then making it relevant to different cultures around the world, and again making everyone around the world feeling welcomed into this world of storytelling, of knowledge, and
mm,
saying this is for you too. So I find it really, really beautiful how the same concept has translated into two different kinds of manifestation, and I'm really, really excited to share this idea which I teach in my Quran classes, where the names that Allah taught to Adam. We as human beings, when we took that pledge of Allah, we had to come and we had to manifest those names, names of God into the seen world. And I see you guys as, Allah's name, Al Musawwir and Al Bari, because Al Bari means making something out of nothing. So, there was nothing here in the comic area for Muslim children, and you have filled that void, being the trailblazers in this field, in this genre of art, and really taking the trouble and going through the pains of setting a path for the coming generations to feel comfortable in taking careers in art. And it's a way for a lot of Muslim conservative parents to be convinced in letting their children come into art, where they can show this as an example, as a sample, and say, not only is it within the confines of religious respect and the holiness, it is also earning us, it is also something that can help us sustain a certain level of income. So really remarkable. And I think that putting heavy dense information and making it simplified and then putting it into comic reminds me of Picasso's quote. He says, every child is an artist, the problem is to remain an artist once they grow up.
mm.
And I think that both of you have done a remarkable job in retaining that childlike artist within yourselves. Thank you so much. And so grateful for your presence. I would like to
Thank
ask
you.
Brother Mahdi to share with us his parting thoughts and any message that he wants to give, any appeal he wants to make, and then I will ask Brother Muhammad Ali. But also, Brother Mahdi, I would request you to give out a message for everyone who's listening to you in regard to the difficulties Iran is facing in terms of making life and making systems and making life easier for artists. How can we as the world contribute in making it easier for you?
Your
Yeah.
question was also on how to help Mehdi and how to help artists in Iran. That is one of the things we all can do is, or the viewers can do is see where we can get his books and
Yes,
Yes.
and get his books and share his books and share his work.
absolutely.
So where can we get your books, Brother Mehdi?
uh, from you in India.
Yeah, from me in India.
Yes. Uh, yes, in my website, I made some links to our stockists, and yes, you can find them. Also, there are some challenges sometimes some challenges on shipping. Sometimes it makes some delay. For example, my new hadith book I haven't sent to US yet. It takes time to our stockists to receive our books, but also you can order directly from our website, and we can ship it from there. And also recently I made some workshops, weekly workshops, and they are, some of them, they are getting interesting. Kids
Yeah,
really
I'm
enjoy.
really
Yes.
interested in the astrolabe, so I'm definitely joining that one.
Astrolabe is done by my brother. He has he's master in history of science. So I asked him to make an also the topics of these arts, workshops are not, it's like I designed them. I didn't look at YouTube and find a topic for them. For example, the origami and Surah Al Fil was very interesting for kids. I
Wow.
choose I I choose a kind origami of elephant and bird, and also some crafts, paper crafts, and made it. And also the our on Saturday we have a workshop for Ottoman style masks. So it was the first time I built it. I used my cardboard, and I was thinking, how can I make a workshop for reading a mask? And at the end, I said, oh wow, this can be a workshop. So
Wow.
the topics are are new. It's not
Yes,
copying
original
from.
ideas.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We do look forward to your workshops, more projects, and
Inshallah.
amazing books.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah. So I will let Brother Muhammad Ali speak as his parting words. And Brother Muhammad Ali, would you like to say some parting remarks from
Yeah,
today's conversation?
yeah. One is I'm just years back when I started Sufi comics. Um, I didn't know where the project would go. It was just out of this idea and excitement. I didn't even know how to draw at that point in time. Like Brother Mehdi said, they were like really simple,
Sorry for.
stick figure types. So, but I'm glad, almost 10 years or so down the line, there are more people coming in, more people encouraged to start their own projects, and inshallah, more will come up. And I just feel that, you know, uh, the way I look at it, art is not a luxury. It is not a nice to have. It is a necessity in today's, especially fast-paced modern world, to kind of slow down and engage ourselves and in reflective work, both in terms of creating art and in terms of being in the presence of art. So, inshallah, look forward to more projects coming up.
Inshallah. And if I can throw in another project from my side, I would love for both of you to collaborate with me here in Karachi and do some posters which we can exhibit in an in an art exhibition. Um, because I think that why not give that prestigious status to comic posters, because it is a very, very effective medium of art, so I would love for you guys to do something which we can bring to Pakistan and present here in a way where it is truly recognized for what it is.
Inshallah, inshallah, it's a good seed of a thought. Inshallah, it will happen.
Yeah, I thought let me plant it before we end.
Inshallah, we have these Salam comics. No, I will send it to you. No problem. So, inshallah, that will work.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me in this very, very inspiring, informative conversation. I think conversations can bridge so many bridges. Joining each other from three different countries. We've been talking. Technology has brought us closer than ever before. And I'm so grateful for both of you to take out time from your precious routines and give so much to the world. It is truly selfless. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much. Thank you much. I'm so
Thank you.
glad
Khuda
for this
Hafiz.
talk. Thank
Nafis.
you. Khuda Hafiz. Salam alaikum.
Nafis.
Assalamu alaikum.
Last year, someone called me and he told me his daughter wants the book for his taklif celebration. Her daughter was 9 years old, and he told me that her daughter is crying all the day, and he wants your book. So
Beautiful.
and